Hey Swifties, I'm Aubrey,
I'm Peyton.
and today we are giving you book recommendations based off the latest Taylor Swift album, The Tortured Poets Department.
Yes, so join us for a cup of coffee as we dive between these poetry sheets.
All right.
Let's do this. Alrighty, welcome everyone to another Taylor Swift themed podcast
We
episode.
love these.
It's been a while, but I feel like the book community and the Swiftie community just go together, and it feels so right to be making these episodes. So, of course, the Tortured Poets Department came out last Friday, April 19th, and oh my goodness, I wasn't too sure about it at first, but now it's all I can listen to. And listen,
Yeah.
this is how Taylor Swift works. Okay, unless it's just a pure pop album with all of its
Yeah.
songs, you're like, what was that? And then you listen to it, and then it becomes your album. So
She
I'm
has to tell you what's good.
yeah,
You have to listen to it a few times and be like, "No, you're right. You are the music industry. This is good." And then
exactly,
obsessed.
exactly. So I've been having so much fun listening to the Torture Post Department. Aubrey and I were talking a little bit about our favorite songs in the album thus far, and she told me to can it so we can right now. So Aubrey,
Yes.
what are you
Okay.
thinking going into if you have top three
Top
songs?
3. Okay. Number 1, definitely Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Obsessed. Fantasy girls know it. Okay, and then I get really tied with, like, everything else, but I think
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
hard.
do Message to the Smallest Man Who Ever Lived because I love sad songs and that bridge slaps. Even though I really like So Long London is, like, tied with that, but I'm gonna give it to that. I have not seen people talking about this, which is why I'm gonna put it in my top 3. I don't know if it actually is, but I love Down Bad. Like, Down
Oh,
Bad, like,
I
"Look
hear
what did I him." I
I hear
s
everyone
watch
talking
these
about
fucking TikTok ranking videos and everyone's like, "Bottom, Down
that. Oh,
Bad, who
really?
cares?" And I'm like, "My opinions are apparently incorrect because
They're
that's what I
down
love."
bad? That's
Yeah.
gonna be on my new, like, running playlist. Like, you
Yeah.
can just, like, kinda drive with that. Yeah, 100%. See, the more you listen to them, the more you're like, "I can't have a favorite." My favorite, of course, is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Like, that's
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, it's too good.
Yeah, like that was the first one. I pulled out my ukulele and I was like, I'm gonna learn this all the instruments so I can sing it. And I did. That's probably the one thing on this track I
What?
could
You did? Does it sound
yeah,
good on a ukulele? That's such like a pop synth song to be like, "I'm learning this on my ukulele."
like Taylor writes all of her songs with like four chords. So you just
Y That's true, that's
gotta
true.
strum the right way. So Who's Afraid of Little Me? I love So Long London.
Yeah.
Um and But Daddy I Love Him. Oh, I love But Daddy I Love Him. I
Really? I
love
don't.
like, oh my gosh, like oh, it feels like running through like a flower field, that
Daddy,
song.
I love him, I'm having his baby.
Baby.
Have you seen the
But
people fake reacting to that line?
yeah,
They're
it's
like, like, you like, believing that she's actually pregnant with Maddie Healy's child. I was like, "I don't think that's what she meant. I don't think she meant that for us as listeners."
yeah, my in-car jam right now is I Can Do It with a Broken Heart, like,
Yes,
see a
of
white
course, of
girl in a
course.
white Volkswagen, like, blaring a song, and you hear, like, her, like, track beat in your ear,
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, is this, like, an in-ear metronome?" It's me.
Yes.
It's it's me.
It
No, I love
it
all
will
of
be
them.
me down the street. Yeah. No, that one's so good.
My first listen through, though, Tortured Poets Department, I was like, the track name title, Never Is Good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like, the lyrics stop. We could talk forever about it, but with that being
I
said,
know.
today, we are going to give you book recommendations based off these songs. These are loose recommendations because we really don't wanna give spoilers, so
Yes.
we're gonna talk maybe more about lyrics, and then you can make judgments on the book based off of that. So maybe more so,
Yes.
like, tropes that are present in the book, that
Tropes, vibe checks,
you'd be
that
able to
kind of thing.
read on the blurb of a book. So, and maybe some little hidden Easter eggs. If you know, you know. Okay, so our track, and oh, we added some tracks to this, and some maybe
Yeah.
missed. So we're not
We pi
following one.
we picked in we picked
Yeah,
our favorites.
So and then maybe one day we'll make a part 2 of this, but girl, she put a lot of songs on this album, so I don't know
There's
about
31,
yeah.
31.
Okay, so our first track is Fortnite. This was our first music video with Post Malone. Fortnite to me felt very Akatar reminiscent. Um, I the literally the first line of this song is I was
Yeah.
supposed to be sent away. Which
Oh, shit.
this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so
Mhm.
take that into your own consideration. But this, our main character Farah goes through a lot of struggle in this book. Basically,
Mhm.
she's taken to a place because the fairies are prevalent in this book, and she has to this new world. Um, she goes through like a lot of spirals. And there's in the first stanza, it says, "I was a functioning alcoholic till nobody noticed my new aesthetic." Which, if you know, you know. Aesthetic,
She struggles.
some things she
Yeah.
struggles and some things change. Especially her appearance. So yeah, uh, Fortnite is, I think, if you listen to it,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So, if you know Beauty and the Beast, obviously the Beast is trying to get Belle to fall in love with him. And so
Mhm.
there's this line in the song called "I Love You, It's Ruining My Life." Um, and so that's she's human and he's a beast, basically. And so she has to find this perfect in between of
Yeah.
"I love you, but like you are ruining my life because you kind of took me, bitch."
But, like, also, can I go home?
Yes. And the Easter egg here is the word fortnight. I loved you for only a fortnight. So
Yes.
that's the Easter egg. And
Alright.
if you know, you know. Moving on.
No, I think that works really well.
Okay.
Next, we have the title track herself, Tortured Poets. Wait, it's Department, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it must have autocorrect to apartment on our script. It says torture poets apartment.
I was like, "Dang, is it like a play on words that I missed this
No,
entire
no, no.
time?" The
No, you
Tortured
autocorrect.
Poets Department,
Yes.
which we have with Divine Rivals,
Of
and
course.
if you know anything about this book, you already know why. It's just the typewriter imagery. I mean, we're gonna start there, hands down. The Divine Rivals is like a magical realism, more than fantasy, I would say. Historical fantasy romance that follows a journalist who is reporting on this like high fantasy magical war, and at the same time she's got a little rival who in the newspaper, and then another little guy that she's messaging on the side with these secret magic typewriters, and they send letters to each other, and this
Yes.
is so poetic. I think this book
Incredible.
matches the aesthetic of this album, like, so
Yes.
perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had to give a book recommendation just based off the whole album, it'd probably Divine Rivals. If
Yeah.
Divine Rivals had a little more edge to it. Uh,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit more depression. But yeah, no, Divine Rivals, like the prose, and I think that there's like a certain amount. It's a rivals to lovers
Yeah.
plot line. So in this song, you really get that rivals of like who's gonna hold you the way I know how
Yeah.
to hold you, like kind of that like sassy, like quick on the draw
Yeah.
kind of like attitude Taylor's giving. That you kind of feel that in the book, where it's kind of like, fine, go off and do that, or like, yeah, you come from this
Yeah.
affluent family, but like, what we know at the end of the day, you want me. So
You
like,
want
what's
me.
yeah. My favorite line is the last one that says, "Who else decodes you?" And I think
Oh, that fits really
relationship
well.
in a relationship, uh yeah, because literally in the book she has to decode who the hell it is, and it's crazy. But in a relationship, I just feel like there's no one who's going to be able to decode who you are, how you're feeling, your little mannerisms more than your partner. And
Mhm.
I think like, yeah, like who else is going to decode me? No one except my partner.
Yeah.
My mom, but people who don't always have those relationships with their parents. Um,
I mean,
so
I love my mom, but,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
otherwise, get a fucking boyfriend, get a spouse.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
All
that one
right.
works really well.
Okay, next one.
Yes.
My boy only breaks his favorite toys. Going to this song. This recommendation I actually got off of TikTok. I'm just trying to get to the lyrics.
Yes.
I,
So it is for
the Cruel Prince.
The Cruel Prince, and I begrudgingly accept it.
Yes. Because the main love interest in this book, and Aubrey can, this is her favorite person ever. She can talk more about this, but he's very like, he can self sabotage. This
Yeah,
is
no, for
big.
sure, for
So
sure, especially in this first book because he's not even I don't know if this is a spoiler or not because he's not fully a love interest in the first book. You know it, I think, going in, and a lot of people do assume that this book is more romance than it is political intrigue, which the romance is such a subplot, especially at the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah. There's
But
more happening in the love story. Let's be honest.
yes, yes, but I think it does fit very well. So, The Cruel Prince takes place in Elfheim, which is another land of like fairies and the folk. But this is a much darker setting of fairies than anything ACOTAR could ever give, because Holly Black is really obsessed with like the original myths and origins of fairies and this idea of them being tricksters and cruel, as the title says, and like they're assholes. Every single character in this book is a total asshole, especially Cardin Greenbrier. Um, and so I will begrudgingly accept
Yeah.
my boy only breaks his
There's
favorite toys.
there's a part in the series in which one character feels very betrayed. Um,
Yes.
and this is where that song comes from. I mean, it's a fantasy novel.
Mhm.
Of course, it's going to be betrayal, but this one hurt because I didn't see it coming. And the
This
person that
one
I
hurt
was with,
me.
and so I love, like, at the end of one of the books when this happens, or in the book series when this happens, I'm not letting you guys know when because you have to read it because it's a great series. Is
Yes.
I listened to this song, I'm like, this is, if I listened to this song in that moment, I would have felt so empowered. And I feel
Yeah.
like this character would have been so empowered. The
Mhm.
line, I'm queen of sandcastles, he destroys,
Yeah.
makes sense. And then I love, he saw forever, so he smashed it up. Once I fix me, he's gonna miss me. And then I love the end where it says, he took me out of my box, he stole my tortured heart, left all these broken parts, and told me I'm better off, but I'm not. That literally is the end of that book. Like, that literally is this character. And
Yes.
like, it's
No.
crazy. I was listening to it and I was like, wait, yes. I mean, I'm happy that this changes for the better, possibly. But, you know, elements are there and I'm obsessed. So yes.
Yeah. No, for sure. Even like the beginning of the song, "Here we go again, the voices in his head called the rain to end our days of wild." Like
Explains him perfectly.
they kind of like have this very like back and forth. They're both using each other this entire relationship. And so it's like
It's
kind of,
really
which is
great.
why we say it's not really like a full romance book. Like, don't go into it for the romance because it is about the politics that they are fucking trying to accomplish first, which is why they're kind of like breaking each other a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh.
For
Oh.
sure.
This song stabbed me. I
Perfect.
was like related it to that situation. Um,
Yeah.
all right, Aubrey. This, oh, I
Okay.
guess I Aubrey's halfway through this book. I just finished it. So we're on Down Bad, I believe.
Down bad crying at the gym.
Down
Yes.
Bad crying at the gym. Okay, so this song is, I,
Is a fate inked in blood.
yeah,
I am halfway through this, but I already see it.
yeah, exactly. Only because Book of the Month put this out, I feel like I'm allowed to say it.
Yes. No,
So
you get it in like the first chapter. Like it's not a spoiler.
So the premise of this book is our main character Freya was given these type of powers. It's Viking Norse mythology, so just
Yeah.
love me here. Regardless,
He's a chosen by one of the gods.
the chosen one, blah blah blah. Of course, it's a fantasy novel. Okay, boring. Let's get to the spicy part. Okay. She has to
Yeah.
marry basically the Duke. Think of him like the Duke who wants to be king
Yeah.
and wants to use her to make sure that he becomes king. Okay. So that's where the
Yeah.
politics come in. Now, the Duke's son, Bjorn, is this steamy,
Hot.
beautiful Viking
Viking man.
Viking man who can think of like okay, I can't say Thor because literally there
Thora
is a
actually.
ton of Thor in this, but he has like a fire axe basically,
Yeah.
and he can like wield power and whatever.
Mhm.
So of course he is Freya's age, the old guy.
Yes.
Duke is
Yeah,
not.
the duke that she was forced to marry, like, already has, like, a main wife, so she's
Yes.
now, like, the second wife.
So
Um,
basically, she wants to fuck her son-in-law. Um,
yeah.
and that's the story. But no one can know that they like each other, and like the whole book is like this like back and forth of like, no, I don't
Yeah.
like you, and like he's mean to her. So like it's very like thrown a glass reminiscent, and like that kind of like banter, if you know, you know.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
he's been, like, assigned as her protector by
of
the
course,
husband,
of
and
course.
so, like, they're, like, forced to spend all this time and go on these, like, dangerous little quests together.
So this lyric literally
Yes.
backs up what I just said.
Let's
Just
hear it.
in a cloud of sparkling dust, just to do experiments on. Tell me I was the chosen one. Show me that this world is bigger than us. Then sent me back to where I came from. Okay,
Yeah.
so the fact that like the only reason she got married to he's called a jarl, whatever. He's the
Yeah.
duke of his like area.
Like
Um,
a duke, but more general, like,
yeah, yeah,
focus.
you know, hashtag Vikings. Um, the fact that she was like only chosen for the experimental because she's the chosen one, blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
the part that the love interest comes into the song is where she goes, "Now I'm down bad, crying." We'll say on the battlefield. I don't know. Um,
On
if
the
what if
training field.
in the training field? What if I can't have him? I might just die. It won't make no difference. Um, and down bad, waking up in blood, which is like
Yeah.
totally. So this song because you can't have him
No.
technically, and
Yeah.
so but they want each
That's your
other.
son-in-law, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yeah,
No, but
uh,
he's hot in her age, and her husband's old, and she yeah. Though
I love
I'm at the part where, like, she didn't have to sleep with him because they kinda, like, did a little tricksy thing, but, like, he thinks that she slept with him, so I'm waiting for that to come out later.
no, there's this line that says, "I loved your hostile takeovers, encounters closer and closer, all your indecent exposures," and then it goes into like, "Cause what if I was in love? What if I can't have us?" Which
Yeah.
is true. And Bjorn, the dude is very like
Mm.
hostile. Sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, like she really this author was like, I'm going to make this classic fantasy man. And she did.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and you have to believe into, like, the culture and time. You have to be like, "We are
Yes.
fucking Vikings." Like, you need to be, like,
Hostile.
re yeah,
So
ready
anyway,
to rebel.
that is perfect. I'm happy I just finished that book. We will have a review out once Aubrey finishes it. We will be chatting
Yes.
about it.
Okay,
So this next one
next
may be a stretch for everyone, but this is the only
I
book.
think it works.
Okay,
I thought about it for a while because I was like, does it?" But I think it does. You just
okay.
have to, like, take bits and pieces, which is what we've been doing. So, next we have So Long London to the Infernal Devices series, which, of course, this is set in London. Let's start there.
Yup. I can't remember any other
Yup.
fantasy
There
books
we
that
go.
we did.
Done. End all. Okay, so the Inferno Devices, this is one of the Shadowhunter books. You've probably heard about City of Bones before. It was really huge at the same time like Hunger Games and Divergent was big, way back when. Um, so the setting of this, there are a special race of humans that have angel blood, and their job is to protect the world against demons. Also, in this universe, there's like warlocks and fae and vampires and werewolves. but it's all set in, like, the real world, just, like, with the fun fantasy spin. So this is set in it's a period book. I think it's, like, the 1880s, London, and you follow the character Tessa Gray as she's kind of being introduced into this world of shadow hunters, because she's not sure about her parentage, and, they gotta save the world against the demons. In this book, there is one of the most beautiful love triangles of my life that I have ever
Seriously.
read. It's
So well
so
done.
perfect. It's so well done because it's not just I feel like where love triangles often go wrong is it's like the girl has two guys fighting over her and there's like one that's like kind of obvious, like Twilight. I was a Jacob girl because I thought he was hotter than Robert Patterson, but truly you knew that Bella was going to end up with
Yeah,
um Edward.
Edward.
Like there wasn't a mystery about it. But this one, it's very much like you don't know who she's going to end up with, but more so the men are just such gentlemen and they're best friends with one another and they love each other so much that like it really adds all these like layers of complication into this love triangle. Um
So I don't really see this song from Tessa's perspective.
yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
What I really like, I don't know if you have lines. I'm trying to find it.
I do.
But
Something like I love my favorite line in the song is, "So how much sad did you think I had? Did you think I had
yeah.
all the tragedy? Just how long do you think before I'd self implode?" Which there's a character in this book that goes off the flapping deep end, and we are
Yeah.
along for the ride. And it's really
Yeah.
fun to watch. And I love um the like when Taylor says, "I'm just mad as hell because I love this place." And if you
Yes.
read the Shadowhunters series, they have like it just reminds me of the little like oh my gosh, what are they called? Like they're like meeting places that they all live at. Sanctuaries or whatever.
Oh, the Institute.
Institute. Yes, thank you. It just reminds me of like, if you're in, if you know, and for someone to
yeah.
like go through such pain to be like, I love this place, like I love these people, I love this
Yeah.
person. Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking song.
No. There's some certified sad boys in this book that,
Two graves, one
the
gun.
story is just so tragic. Like, if you finish this book and you read the epilogue and you're not at least wanting to cry, like, you read
Yeah.
it wrong. Try again.
I didn't opt
Um
in to be your odd man out.
yeah, I love the and I'm just getting color back into my face because I feel like especially in this book, the two boys in the love triangle, they're best friends, but they are depressed as hell. They both have their own like such serious issues and
Yeah.
through the plots of this book, they start to like come back alive a little bit, but they're still having their struggles. And so it's like kind of like that like push and pull of like no, like, I was coming back alive, but, like, shit's happening that, like,
Yeah.
I can't fully enjoy it. No, I think it's perfect. I think
Yes.
it fits
Yeah.
really well.
It worked out. It worked out. All right.
So,
Next
that
one.
the first book in that series is Clockwork Angel.
Yes. I highly recommend that. Those three books.
Yes.
They are amazing. Seriously. So good. All right. But Daddy, I love him. We are gonna throw some fourth wing in here, kids. We should be so like, well, I guess it should be, but mommy, I love him.
But
Um,
mommy.
but mommy,
Yes. Which
I
is
love him.
I love him a little bit. I don't know how much we can say.
Yeah, I'm just the love interest, of course there's tension and like you can't have what
Yeah.
you want. Literally the first line of the song is I forget how the West was won, which is reminiscent of like
Mm, mhm.
wartime and growing up
Yes.
young in a war. A lot of people, they don't really understand war when they're young. And so this character, this war happened when she wasn't able to fully comprehend what was going on.
Yeah.
So
So the
yeah,
book is set in
oh,
follows Violet Soaringale. Her
beautiful.
mommy is the general. I'm so used to people knowing all these books, but this is a
No,
book recommendation, so
it
let's
is.
say a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta go.
um Violet Soaringale, her mommy is the general of this like society that's built around war, and she is attending a war college, and she wanted to be a scribe, except mommy said no and said you're gonna be a dragon rider, which is super fucking dangerous. And she's weak as hell, and so she thinks she's gonna die, and she almost dies like a billion times in this book. Um, and but there's dragons. I don't wanna speak too much about the romance because there's, like, a little bit of a back and forth with a bunch of different
Yeah,
characters,
we can
but
talk
it
more
but
about
you know. Yes.
Violet and maybe her struggle just even if she wanted to be with someone. There's so many good
Yeah.
lines in this.
Mhm.
One, she, like Aubrey said, wants to be a scribe, but of course, literally, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen. But there's a line that says like Sarah and Hannah's in their Sunday best. I'm thinking like writers in their writing leathers,
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
their
yeah.
pearls, sighing "What a mess," which because Violet is
Mhm.
like such a mess in this book because she just is.
Yes. Well,
And
and she has
then
to deal with a lot of that backlash because I feel like the root of this song, it's like kind of like, oh, it's the romance, but it's actually about Taylor Swift being like, "Hey, y'all were fucking off the wall about this Maddie Healy. Like, let me date who I want to date." And
yeah,
I feel like it's such a clapback to like her fans that I feel like Violet, she people had shit to say about her in these books.
this whole line, it's dutiful
Yeah.
daughter, all my plans were laid, tendrils tucked into a woven braid. Okay, she
She
like
wears her hairs in braids all
so
the time.
growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all. He was,
Yeah.
and then this one, the love interest, which if you know, you know, he was chaos, he was reveille, bedroom eyes like a remedy. Soon enough, the elders had convened down at the city hall, aka the university. Stay away
Oh my
from her. The
god.
daddy love him,
She's even
guys.
rhyming.
I literally can't. I
Oh my gosh,
literally.
so good.
Oh.
No, I think that's perfect. I think that
Yes,
is
we're gonna end on that.
perfect. If you haven't read Fourth Wing yet, you need to. It's so good. It will take you by a storm. So, the most fast-paced book I've ever read in my life. Okay, Guilty as Sin.
Yes. All right. Let's guilty as sin. We have like the Crescent City worlds. Um, Specifically the second one, but let's just
Yes.
talk. There's a lot that happens in this whole book that relates to the song. So guilty as sin.
Guilty as Sin.
I moved my things around so they'd be perfect.
No,
I
I think
I
Guilty as Sin works really well for just the series in general, even though we do have a particular relationship in mind for the second book.
yeah,
Because there's something about the like it being like almost forbidden.
yeah, it's a
And
forbidden. Yeah.
in this book, the main character, Bryce Quinlan, goes through some pretty traumatic stuff at the start of the book and then is on this like murder mystery that she has to solve. But within it, there was so many fucking characters in this book. Like I couldn't even begin to sit down and describe this whole
There's so many
plot
characters.
because
There's so many characters.
there's so many characters, and I think all of the characters are really strong as they are, and I feel like there's so many I can think of so many couples in this book because it's Sarah J. Maas, so of course we're gonna like the romance
What?
is up there. You know what I mean? Like it's not a subplot, it's part of the plot.
Yeah,
But I feel like I like so many of these couples have this little bit of forbidden romance. Even the fucking like side angel bitch
yeah. There's so many
had a forbidden romance.
everyone has a love story in this book.
Yes.
Some quotes that relate to everyone. Am I allowed to
Mhm.
cry? I dream of cracking locks, throwing my life to the wolves. Which, if you know, you know. There are wolves prevalent in these stories.
There are actual werewolves.
He's a paradox. I'm seeing visions. Am I bad or mad or wise? Which I mean, and then, of course, the best part of the song is what if he's written mine on my upper thigh, only my mouth?
Yes.
One slip and falling back into the hedge maze. Oh, what a way to die. Which is that, like, forbidden love of, like,
Mhm.
but what if he's
Yeah.
already mine? I love
And if
it.
started this series, if you think about day and night,
Yes.
which are code spy names, but
Yes. If you
it's so fucking good. It's so good. I
yes.
also so this is
Oh,
an urban fantasy, like, it's set in a high fantasy world, but they have, like, phones and social media and guns and shit, and I think that Bryce Quinlan would have loved this album.
oh my gosh, yes. 100%. I keep these longings locked in lowercase inside a vault, which okay, come on, guys, literally makes sense
Mhm.
in the plotline. These fatal fantasies, giving way to labored breath, take all of me. We've already done it in my head. If it's make believe, why does it feel like a vow we've both uphold somehow? And without ever touching his skin, how can I be guilty as sin? Oh my god, yes.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
which once again, with like the code names, like if you don't read the books, you won't know, but you will know, and you will come back and you'll be like, oh my god,
Listen,
the
Day and
forbidden,
Night
forbidden.
saved book 3. Book
Yeah, they
3
did.
would have been, like, 2 stars if Day and Night were not in that book.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What if I roll the stone away? They're gonna crucify me anyway. Oh, okay. Anyway, so yes, I
Okay.
definitely this song is literally about the story of day and night. So anyways, who is afraid of
Yes.
little old me? I mean, come on, we only have one book we can talk about for this, and that is A Court of Silver Flames. We can't say too much, because it is
This
further in
is
the series, but it's about one
part
of
of
the
the ACOTAR series, but the
yes.
original trilogy and plot is over, and so it kind of sits on its own because now it's following new characters within that world. And follows a character that most people generally hate. Every time we post we make a TikTok about Dear Nesta. Half the comments are horrendous.
Whatever. But
Whatever, it's fine. You know what? All engagement
song,
pushes the video.
the,
So
the thing is, this song actually like combats those negative comments because she's literally saying,
yeah,
"So I leap from the gallows and I levitate down your street, crash the party like a record scratch as I scream. Who's afraid of little old me? You should be."
yeah,
And that's only one. That's the only thing the "you should be" in a very sassy
hmm,
tone is so Nesta coded. It's
yes,
crazy. So Nesta is this character that, like, when she walks through room, everyone's like, "Oh, now the party's gonna
ugh,
fuck," because
yeah.
this
Look, the bitch has come.
she's like such a bitch. She's so depressed. She's so
Hmm.
broken that it's like there's being broken and just being sad, and then there's being broken and being absolutely fucking crazy insane off the deep end. And
Yes.
that's Nesta. And I think
And
it's
she takes the later one. Well, I really love the "I was tame, I was gentle, to the circus life made me mean. Don't you worry, folks, we took out all her teeth." Because
she
when
goes
we
through
get
some
some
shit.
of her backstory, we learn that, like, she was very different as a kid, and she was raised to be one thing, and then that was all taken away from her. And then she lost all of her agency, all of her ability to do
Twice.
anything.
She
And
lost
did
it
she
twice.
handle it the best way? No. But I also think that people dim her down to an abuser, which I don't think is accurate. Like, I think she was one, I don't think she did anything that horrible. Compared to, like, the world that we're in and, like, what everyone has done and said, but she really did she needed a healing journey, which is what this book is.
Yeah, and I think this whole song is about like I've been basically crucified and like
Mhm.
I want to I want to show you like when she says like I want to show you how disturbed this has made me. Nesta goes through something crazy towards the end of this
Yeah.
like life altering
Mhm.
and so you know the line like so tell me everything is not about me but what if it is because she
Yeah.
literally something horrible happens to her and it is about
Yeah.
like, they say they
Yeah.
used to hurt me, but what if they did? Like, I imagine her saying that to herself. Like, they say that they wanted like to save me or help me, but what if they actually did do
Yeah, they're like it wasn't there to hurt me, but, like, what if it was? Because I think something that's really cool that it's explored in this is Nessa is very much a side character in the original trilogy. She is just the sister to Feyre, who is the main character, and Nessa and and the other sister, Elaine, are brought into the plot as these side characters, and they face consequences of the narrative that Feyre does not have to face, and choices and stuff that Feyre made as the main character,
Yeah.
then it hurts it like, it affects these side characters, and I feel like typically in books, like, you're like, "Oh, like, that sucks for those side characters," but, like, obviously the main character is going through her own things, and we're so focused and dialed into the main character's story that this book kind of, like, now taking this side character and making her a main character and being like, "Oh, yeah, like, what happened to her that we brushed off because we were so dialed into the main character, like, actually is going to have, like, long-term effects, and, like, she's not just the side character, like, she has her own life," if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. I think
I
that's
I love Nesta. I'm such a
well, this
Nesta defender.
this song can really go towards like any main character that you think
Yes,
about.
any female,
Really.
which I do wanna bring up another book
Oh yes,
because
that's
it's
right.
one that we don't talk about much on this podcast, mainly because Peyton hasn't read it, and I've only read, like, the first one. But I wanna recommend Mistborn for this. It is a Brandon Sanderson book, and if you guys have heard of Brandon Sanderson in the news, it's because he's an absolute madman who won't stop writing books, and there's so much going on with him, and all of his books are in this interconnected universe. But if you are looking to start Brandon Sanderson and wanted like a true Brandon Sanderson experience, I think Mistborn is a great place to start. It follows the main character Vin, who is this little like street urchin character thief, and she's very like timid and shy and untrusting of the world around her because she's been betrayed before. But she learns that she is a Mistborn, which in this world there are like magical powers through metals, and like certain people can like use certain metals, but she is like one of like the divergent people who can use all of the metals and all of the magic. um and so she is getting trained by another Mistborn to participate in a heist. They want to rob the king of like all of his expensive shit. Um, but I think her journey in this book matches this song so well. Even the like, I leap from the gallows and I levitate down your street. She literally flies around the city with her metal powers. Like, literally, she levitates. Okay, we're gonna start there. Like, she is doing that.
The portal.
Um, Crash the party like a record scratch as I scream. Part of her, like, mission for the heist is she has to pretend to be a noblewoman to infiltrate the high society, and so she has to, like, put in all these gowns and attend these, like, fancy balls and stuff as someone who was just, like, a little street urchin. And so she's like crashing these parties. And then, of course, who's afraid of little old me? You should be. By the end, like she has to reconcile that she is no longer, especially at the beginning of the second book, which I am only a little bit into. Um, but she starts as such weak little girl, and at the end, she's like, "Oh, I'm one of the most powerful people in this city. Like, I am killing people and I am taking shit down and I am a motherfucking Mistborn." So I think it's really cool, and I would recommend this. But I haven't finished the series, but I would recommend Mistborn to anyone who wants to get into Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, I think that's a good introduction to him as Mistborn. Okay, so
Okay,
next song is "I Can Fix
I
It."
love this song.
No, I can. Okay, so we have down Powerless for this. Thank you again. I saw this recommendation on TikTok. I kind of whipped Powerless from my brain, only because it was an interesting reading experience. But
Okay.
powerless in this
Yeah.
society, you are killed question mark if you do not have powers. So
Yeah.
you have to fake having a power. And our main character Peyton, which is very close to Peyton, so I did feel
Mhm.
connected to her through this. Um
So we were best friends.
so this is about Pay and about how she has to kind of fake love for some people that kind of turns into real love to save herself. And think
Yeah.
Hunger Games and Red Queen. We've talked about this book so much and about how similar
Yes.
they are. Okay, just it's the same plot.
Peyton
She said copy.
goes Yeah, Peyton goes to the castle to participate in this competition between all the really powerful people, including the prince, and she is getting really close to two of the princes. And yeah, she has to fake it till she makes it, bitch, because otherwise she'll just die.
Yeah,
But I think this works so well because her relationship, especially with the prince who's going to be the heir one day, like who's going to be the king one day, she literally is like, I'm going to fix
like
him.
the
Like, every
she
time she
actually
talks to him, she's like, "Have you considered being a better king? Like, have
yeah.
you considered being better than your dad?" Like, she really goes in with the mindset of like, "No, I will fix
I'm gonna
you."
fix him. I love the line. I believe this is the bridge where she says, "Good boy, that's right. Come close. I'll show you heaven if you'll be my angel, all mine. Trust me, I can handle. I can handle me a dangerous man. No, really, I can."
Dangerous.
So she's like Peyton has to like mastermind this whole book, and I think
Yeah.
that like going and trying to fix someone, you really do have
Mhm.
to activate your mastermind powers because you need to go in with a strategy, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what Hayden does in this book, both plot
Yeah.
wise and also with the romance plot.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just so funny because this song is so like I saw the title and I'm like, this is so Maddie Healy, and I love the line that's like the smoke cloud billows out of his mouth, aka because he's a chain smoker,
Yeah.
like a freight train through a small town. The jokes that he told across the bar were far too were revolting and far too loud, which is like
Yeah.
100% what I think of. Like just that line is Maddie Healy.
Mhm.
And so, yes, especially coming from like a princess perspective, and well, more so coming from Peyton's perspective, seeing someone
Yeah.
and just like once again, you were kind of talking about in Mistborn, like this like kind of like street rat to like being in
Yeah.
parties. It's like wow, like you people are so revolting. Like it's
Mhm.
ridiculous. So, um, definitely Powerless works for this. We love a girl with
Yeah.
I can fix him. I love how the song
I
ends
can
with
fix him syndrome.
whoa, maybe I can't.
Yeah,
It's like,
which is
oh,
kind of how the book ends, where Peyton's like, because it's a series, and so, like, obviously things get crazy at the end, and she's like, Wait a minute.
wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
All right,
Okay."
let's jump right into our for the sake of time. Let's jump into the next track, which is however you want to call it. It's "Love of My Life," aka "Loss of My
Loss of
Life,"
my life.
which made me think
LOML.
of Assassin's Blade right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, this book is the prequel to the Throne of Glass series, which follows
Yes.
Selena before Throne of Glass and the main
Mhm.
plot line. It's basically four short stories that make up a whole book, and we get her
Yeah.
life, her love interests, all of that before she enters the Throne of Glass world, and how that series and plot line absolutely catapults from Throne of
Yeah.
so this is just trying to give us a backstory of Selena's character and like her roots and like where she comes from and like
Mhm.
why the way she is the way she is. Um, I
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but just
No, I think
fun.
you kind of know some things if you start reading the series. But yeah, I think it fits very well. I don't
If
want to say
you
too
know it
much.
in one glimpse, it's legendary. What we thought was
Yeah.
all time was momentary. Still alive, killing time at the cemetery, never quite buried. Which she takes with her into all of
Mhm.
the books. And then
Yeah.
it was legendary, it was momentary, it was unnecessary, should have let it stay buried. Oh, what a valiant war, what a bland goodbye. A coward claimed he was a lion. I'm coming through the braid of lies. I'll never leave, never mind. That line, like that bit, relates to just
Yeah.
her in this whole book, not just a romantic relationship with
Mhm.
her. She is an assassin, and
Yeah.
her backstory from this part. Now, Selena has a lot of history for her being
She's got a
someone,
lot, but
but
what we know in this.
for this book, her and her history about staying and being from the Assassin's Keep
Mhm.
there is some really tough shit she has to go through. So
Yeah.
I just
No,
thought of
absolutely.
Assassin's Blade right away. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
all you, Aubrey. I saw this on TikTok
Okay.
and there. So speaking of copy paste, the OG
Copy
source
paste.
material, message to the smallest man who ever lived, Red Queen.
Red Queen. Okay. I do not want to say too much because it is a little bit of a spoiler. Um, but if you hear people talking about Red Queen online, they are talking about this. And there is a plot twist in this book that's so fucking insane and will rock your world and then sets the whole series off into motion. But let's dial back. Red Queen follows Mare. She in this world, it's fantasy dystopian. So there are people with silver blood and there are people with red blood. And the people with red blood don't have powers. Um and the people with silver blood are the like noble royals and all of that. And in this, Mare tries to steal from the prince, but he's hot and cool, and so he's like, "Here, I'll just get you a job working as a servant for this like big event that's coming up." Well, while she's working at this event, she almost fucking dies, but instead, it reveals that it like triggered this event for her to reveal that she has powers, but she's not supposed to have powers because she has red blood and not silver blood. And so then the king and queen have to kind of like take her in and create this alias for her. And she has to pretend that she does have silver blood because like the whole society is going to fucking crumble if we know that people with red blood have powers too, because the silver blood people get to be assholes because they're so much better because they have silver blood because they have powers. And if red blood people can have powers, then that just like fucks our caste system.
Literally powerless.
Literally, literally powerless. And in it, she also like there's like training and like competition scenes. It's so there's
Yeah.
so many scenes that are same, but that's fine. Um, in this, she also is kind of romancing both of the princes. Um, and yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna end
Okay.
for a
And
summary. I will say that if you have read this book, I think that this song fits so perfectly. And if you listen to this song, you can kind of tell the direction of something that it's going. But at the end, there is a major plot twist, and Mare is betrayed by someone. Um, and it's fucking crazy. It is fucking crazy.
oh, don't you
All
just
right.
love it? All right. I can do it with a broken heart.
I love this
I
song.
I gave this to Throne of Glass. We were talking
The whole series.
the whole series. We were talking about Selena a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay. I I love this because this song is about someone being like professionally in like in the prime of their time,
Yeah.
can't get
Mhm.
any higher, doing the best, and then the flip side of, but personally, this person is so
Is
fucking
dying.
miserable. And if that
Yeah.
is not our main
Yeah.
character in the Throne of Glass series,
Mhm.
I don't know what to say. I can read your
No,
mind. Having the
absolutely.
time of her life, there in her glittering prime. The lights refracted sequin stars off her silhouette every night. I can show you lies. Literally, the main character in this book,
Literally.
I'm not gonna say much. The fact that I just want to blurt it out, but like, she is living a lie. Selena is living a lie.
Yeah.
I'm a real tough kid. I can handle my shit. They said, baby, gotta fake it till you make it, and I did.
Yes. And you
So
can throughout the entire series. So Selena is an assassin,
yes,
which Assassin's Blade is her like prequel
yes.
book. But when the book starts, she had gotten arrested because of things that happened in Assassin's Blade and was actually working in a slave mine. She gets taken out of the slave mine by the prince and the captain of the guard to compete in a competition to become the king's assassin. And so she just went through this, like, insanely traumatic experience being a slave and, like, in such harsh conditions that most people don't survive, like, weeks or days, and she survived months in
Yeah,
there. Um, and she also has, obviously, everything that's happened in Assassin's Blade and this crazy traumatic backstory,
it's so
but
real.
she's gotta show up to this fucking competition to become the king's assassin. She
Digging her
has to,
heel.
like, switch on her mask and just
Yep.
be, like, a little, like, sassy badass.
Literally
Um,
the line, "Lights, camera, bitch, smile, even when you wanna
yeah.
die." Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. I
It's
love
so
it.
good. She
Um,
also has an what the fuck? I said the word earlier. An ally a lay she has to pretend to be someone else and have, like, a fake name. She has to pretend
an
to be
alibi?
Liliana. Yeah.
Okay. Like her yeah. Yeah, she has to sh
What is that? I said it earlier.
an alibi?
Alias.
Oh,
Alias?
alias, okay.
Yeah.
Alias, yes, that is her
We
alias.
know words.
Yes. So, yeah, right, listen, guys, it's been rough. Um, I I love it, and I love at
It's
the end
so
she
good.
goes, "'Cause I'm miserable and no one even knows, try to come for my day
Yeah.
off," which, like, you could not come for it.
No. No, no one could.
I'm a
Oh,
cer no one got it. Selena,
just
no one can come for Selena's job. It's impossible.
no.
No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. No
You
one's
you know I'm on Queen of Shadows right now, so, like, things
gonna know.
like, we're in the plot now, and things are gonna
Yeah, we
yeah.
were in it.
I could do the broken heart. Totally, totally. And Selena is so like also kind of like a girl's girl too. Like she loves to shop
Yeah.
and spend money and like this song is
Be
kind of
fake,
flirtatious
yeah.
and like fun in that way. I'm so
Mhm.
depressed to act like it's my birthday every day. She literally does.
She
Uh,
does. She does. She needs to. It's a coping mechanism.
yeah, same girl, same. Okay, so the next one is the prophecy.
Oh
And
my
we
god.
have, of course, Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson. Guys, the editors on TikTok are so fucking quick. I was bawling my eyes out watching edits to this song with Percy Jackson. In Percy Jackson, this is a Greek mythology. It's middle grade, but I don't fucking care. Everyone should read it. Peyton needs to read it. She needs to get on your Zoom, get on your books. They're so easy to read because it's middle grade books,
I
but
got
they're
shit
so
to do.
fucking impactful. I swear to God, you could read it in a day. Like, get it on your Kindle and
I
just
have
zoom
the
through
book.
it.
I have Neva's book that she, like, wrote all over when
Or
she
watch the TV show.
I
I mean, the
love
TV
Percy
show is
Jackson.
different, but okay, anyways, so this follows Greek mythology. And so we have, like Zeus, Poseidon, all of those guys, but it takes place following demigods, which are the children of gods and human. And our main character, Percy, gets swept up into this world, realizes that he is a demigod, and not just any demigod, but the demigod of Poseidon, who is one of the big three, like the biggest, baddest Greek gods, and are also not supposed to be having children. um, and he kind of learns that his whole life has been predetermined for him by the fates and prophecies of this world. And he has to wrestle throughout the series knowing that there's this huge prophecy about a guy who's either going to save or destroy the world. Um, and he doesn't know if it's him or not. And throughout the series he has to kind of like work through it, but I just like the please, I'm on my knees, change the prophecy. Like, I just want somebody, like, he really just wants to live his life, and he's just a little kid. It starts when he's 12, and the series, moves forward until actually a new one just came out with him like as like 17 or 18. um and so it's really sad, and like they hit this like manipulation of like, if we are in the world of Greek mythology and there are things like the oracles and fates and things like that, and you have a life that's predetermined for horribleness, like what is that? How does that shape a person? It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so
Oh
fucking
my
good.
gosh. Yeah. I there was that one lyric in here, um,
Mm-hmm. I
that
Prophecy is, I think, one of my favorites. I mean, I know
hand
I
on the
didn't say it
throttle,
earlier.
hand on the throttle, thought I caught lightning in a bottle, but oh, but it's gone again. Pat around when I get home. I guess a lesser woman would have lost hope. And this song
Yeah.
is kind of like yeah, like Aubrey said, like kind of on your knees begging, like, can
Mhm.
you change the prophecy? And I
Yeah.
think this is in a lot of fantasy books that are like, I just read it through a Fate Inked in Blood, where it's like, why me? Like,
Yeah.
why do I have
Yeah.
to want to do it?
That
And
hero's journey.
I'm sorry, but I relate to that so much because a lot of times in
Mhm.
my life, I'm like, does it have to? Do I have to do? Like, do I have to do it?
Yeah.
Can't someone else do it?
Yeah. No, for sure. Being like, "Why does it
Especially
have to be me?"
especially for like this like young adult like children's book kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
that is like hits harder. Um,
When I've seen it through people saying, like, the song is through Annabeth, which is one of the other main characters' perspective of this girl and being like, "Why did you have to choose, like, him and me? Like, why are we going through this?" And this
yeah.
idea of, like, begging the gods, like, "Choose someone else. Let me live my life." Speaking of Greek mythology, next we have Cassandra, which is about Cassandra from Greek mythology herself. However, I've not read a book about Cassandra. I have read a book about Circe, Madeline Miller. Greek mythology is so fucking good in like retellings. I just I love it. And Madeline Miller is a pro, a beast. I read this book and I bawled my little eyes out and like read it in like 2 days. It's so good. So looking at lyrics, so Circe, if you do not know from Greek mythology, is the daughter of one of the Titans, and she is the original witch in Greek mythology. And she lives a life isolated, and this book really digs into the struggles of being a woman and a sexist society and how like the world's kind of against you, which is exactly what this song does for Cassandra and for Taylor Swift. I really like used to tell the future, but they cut out my tongue and left me doing laundry to think in what I've done. It wasn't me, it was the song. In this book, Circe is punished for what she does and says and is forced to go to an island by herself and just like sit in that punishment. So I think that fits really well. And
Okay.
finally,
Yes, the final song we have is this is not on. I don't see it on the OG track. Guys, last Friday was crazy. There's so many songs
well,
thrown at me. But
neither is the prophecy or Cassandra.
yeah, so the
So
Bolter, I chose the Invisible Life Addie LaRue because this is like dual meaning.
this is so perfect.
This is this is so perfect.
It fits her to a
Yeah.
T.
So the long short of this book is that um it's multi-generational story about Addie LaRue. Um
Mhm.
sorry. It's about Addie LaRue and she makes this deal with the
The
devil.
devil.
And the deal is that she wants to get out of this marriage and
Mhm.
not married yet, but she's about to get married to this horrible guy. And so she makes this she's like literally in the water on her knees, like
Yeah.
and the devil makes deal with her. She just lives forever, basically. Like she
Mhm.
lives forever. Um,
But there's a catch.
but there's a catch: is that no one will remember her, so she is
Mhm.
invisible. So the Bolter is a perfect song because not only does she bolt from literally everything in life, people bolt from her because
Yeah.
freaking remembers her. Like the
Yeah, the second they don't see her, they forget her.
yes. So I have down in the notes, she's been many places with many men of many faces.
Yeah.
Which literally is this book.
It's her to a T.
Like Addie travels around the
Addie
world. This
LaRue.
happened in the 1700s, I believe, when she made the deal,
Yeah.
and the book
And then
ended
it
in 2014.
yeah.
So they
So,
go to different
girl
places.
has lived a life.
Yes, and she learns how to like get around and survive and all of that. So you can be sure that as she was leaving, it felt like freedom. All her fucking lives flashing before her eyes.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the book, of course, something comes to a conclusion. But I just love the lyric. All her fucking lives flash before her eyes, um,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
she lived so many lives, and so
Yeah, and we see all these flashbacks of her.
you become very like reminiscent of like everything she's been through
Mhm.
by the end of the book, and it's like the prose. I don't know, B. E. Schwab like
Ugh,
crack.
it's so good. It's
It's
a slower story, but it's very character based. Like, you really just have to attach yourself to Addie LaRue and what she's been through.
And yeah, exactly. And I think like obviously she made this deal with the devil, aka his name's Luke. And there's some like Stockholm syndrome sort of thing. Like she really identifies with her captor and like has
Yeah.
like love for him, but like also like hates him at the same time. And
Yeah.
I love the line, he was a cad, wanted her bad, just like any good trophy hunter. And she likes the way he tastes, taming a bear, making him care, watching him jump, then pulling him under. At first blush, just
Yeah.
fate, blah blah blah. I just think that's so funny because she's the reason why she literally like kind of makes the devil fall in love with her.
She does. She is that girl.
Yeah. So, anyways, this story is crazy. The Bolter,
Mhm.
and they nicknamed her the Bolter because she
Yeah.
literally is. AKA that's how the story starts. Is she her bolting away from a marriage? So
Mhm.
yeah, love, love, love. I think
Love. That's so perfect.
I saw it. Someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, "Yep, I hate that."
Yep, that's going in the podcast.
Yes. But anyways, that is
Yes.
all we have time for today. I love book recommendations, so please let me know what songs you would like, what books you'd recommend
Yes, yes.
based off these songs. We have a whole other album, so add those in too. Just try to be respectful of spoilers for all of our friends. But
Yes.
yeah, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, follow us. We have a new TikTok, so go follow that. We kind of started
Yes.
from scratch, so we were posting content on there every day.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us, and happy reading.